February 24, 2022. 0522. That's the official time. That's when cruise missiles started hitting Ukrainian airbases. Vasilkiv, Kolbukino, Mykolaiv, Lviv. Simultaneous strikes. The logic was clear: suppress the Air Force before it can respond. Ground the aircraft, destroy the runways, kill the pilots where they sleep. That was the plan. It didn't fully work. I'll tell you what the first hour was like. The alert comes through and the first thing you do is not think about what it means. You don't have time. You put on your gear. You go to the aircraft. You run through the checklist. The checklist is the same as it's always been. The aircraft is the same aircraft you've been flying for years. The sky outside is dark and cold, same as any February morning. Except there are explosions on the southern perimeter. And the radio is full of voices speaking very fast. And somewhere to the north, in the direction of Kiev, there's a glow. You do the checklist. We had been on heightened alert for weeks. There were briefings. There were intelligence summaries. We trained for this scenario. But there is a difference between training for something and the morning it begins. I don't know how to describe that difference precisely. It's not fear, exactly. It's more like a recalibration. Everything that existed before this moment becomes background. What matters now is, can the aircraft fly? What is the threat? What is the order? The order came. We flew. The MiG-29 is not a new aircraft. It entered service in 1983. By 2022, the Ukrainian fleet was a mix of upgraded and unmodified airframes. Not the newest technology. Not the most advanced radar. But it flies. And in the right hands, in the right situation, it fights. The Russian aircraft we were up against in those first days were Su-35s, Su-30s, Su-25s. More advanced in some respects. Different doctrine. What changed the equation, slightly, was the terrain. We knew it. They didn't, not the same way. And we knew where to be and where not to be. I'm going to be accurate with you about what air combat looks like. Because most people have an incorrect picture. It is not a dogfight from a movie. Most engagements happen at ranges where you never see the other aircraft with your eyes. You see a radar return. You get a missile tone. You make a decision in a few seconds. You fire, or you don't. You brake, or you don't. The whole thing can last less than a minute. Then it's over and you're already thinking about fuel state and where the next threat is coming from. In those first 3 days, February 24th, 25th, 26th, Ukrainian Air Force pilots were in the air continuously in shifts. Flying combat air patrols over Kiev. Over Chernihiv. Over the northern approaches. There were kills. Confirmed kills, documented. Russian aircraft downed by Ukrainian pilots. Not by one pilot. Not 6 in one day by one man. By multiple pilots, over multiple missions, across 3 days of continuous combat. That matters. I'll come back to it. Somewhere around the evening of February 24th or the morning of the 25th. I can't tell you exactly, time was moving strangely. One of the ground crew came in and showed someone a phone. There was a video clip. Or maybe it was a photo at first. A MiG-29 in the sky over Kiev. The caption said, Ukrainian ace. 6 Russian aircraft shot down in one day. The ghost of Kiev. I looked at the image. I looked at the caption. I thought, that's not how it works. Not the numbers. Not one pilot, one day. That's not how air combat works, not in this environment, not with these aircraft. But I also didn't say anything. Because there was another mission briefing in 90 minutes. And I needed to sleep for 45 of them. When I woke up, the Ghost of Kiev had 3 million views. I want to explain what that felt like from inside. Because I think it's important. There were real pilots flying real missions. People I knew. People in my unit. Some of them were very good. One of them, I won't use a name, had a natural sense for positioning that I hadn't seen in anyone before. Common situations that shouldn't allow for calm. These people were doing something real. The threat was real. The kills were real. And then this image appeared on the internet. Not from them, not from us, not from any official source. And within 24 hours it was on CNN, on the BBC. On every platform, in every language. 6 kills. 1 pilot. 1 day. The Ghost of Kiev. I understand why it spread. I understand what people needed. It was the second day of the war. Kiev was expected to fall. Western intelligence had been saying days, maybe hours. People were watching a city they knew and loved appear on their screens under missile attack. And then this story appeared. 1 man. Holding the sky. 6-0. Of course it spread. Of course people wanted it to be true. The question of whether it was literally true was a different question. And it could wait. In late April 2022, the Ukrainian Air Force released a statement. The Ghost of Kiev, they said, was a collective image. A symbol. Not a single pilot. The kills attributed to the Ghost of Kiev had happened. But they were the combined result of multiple pilots across multiple engagements. Over the first days of the war. The statement was careful and dignified. They honored the real people it represented. They acknowledged the legend had served a purpose. They corrected the record. Some people were angry at the correction. They felt something had been taken from them. I understand that too. But I want to say something from my side of it. The real story: multiple pilots, continuous shifts, 3 days, bad aircraft against better aircraft, knowing the terrain, not giving up the sky. That story is harder to tell in a photo caption. It doesn't compress into an image. It doesn't go viral. But it's the story that's actually true. And in my view it's harder and more interesting than one ace with 6 kills. Here's what actually happened in those first days, as the record shows it. The Russian Air Force did not achieve air superiority over Ukraine. That was the plan. That was what the opening strikes were designed to create. Destroy the air bases. Suppress the air defense. Own the sky. Then use that air superiority to support the ground advance on Kiev. It did not happen. Ukrainian pilots continued to fly. The S-300 and Buk systems the Ukrainians had hidden and dispersed continued to function. Russian aircraft were shot down. Russian aircraft stayed further back, at ranges that made them less effective. The ground advance stalled. Partly logistics. Partly resistance. Partly because the sky was never clean. I'm not saying the Air Force won the war in the first 3 days. That's not how it works. I'm saying the sky was contested when it should not have been contested. By any reasonable pre-war assessment. And that contestation had consequences. That's the actual story. not one ghost. A lot of people, doing their jobs, in aircraft that were supposed to be obsolete. Against an enemy that was supposed to be overwhelming. In April 2022, Major Oleksandr Oksenchenko was killed in combat. He was a Ukrainian Air Force pilot. Some accounts suggested he may have been one of the pilots whose early kills contributed to the Ghost of Kiev legend. He was a skilled pilot and an aerobatics instructor, and he died flying. I did not know him personally. The Ghost of Kiev was a picture on a phone screen. He was a man in an aircraft. Both of them were trying to hold the sky. One of them was real.